Yes, so good afternoon all. Today we will see arrays in Java and string and different string related classes in Java. So guys, we have start through array. We know the array. String is also one array, but it is considered differently in Java. We will see that. So first I will share my screen. Yes, the screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so first I have opened Notepad. Okay, then we know what is array. What is array? In C++, array is a derived data type which stores homogeneous data elements together in a single entity called as array. Array also different types, that is one dimensional or multidimensional array in C++. Similarly in Java also uh, array of type one dimensional, multidimensional, as well as there is another type that is called as jagged arrays. We will see that part also in today's lecture. But guys, in Java, array is an object which contains the element of similar data types. For example, array is also a object class in Java. Okay, so what it stores? Yes, it stores elements of similar type, and that elements are stored in the contiguous memory location, and that is called as the object, and that object returns some address, and that address is stored into the array reference variable. So guys, first array is of two types. Yes, first one is called as one dimensional array. One dimensional array. The next one is called as multi-dimensional array. Okay, so array. So in one dimensional array, how we can declare the array? So guys, first understood that while creating array involves three steps. First is to declare the array. Declare the array. Yes, we have first declare the array. Second step, that is create memory location by creating object of that type, yes, of similar data type. Then third is initialize values to memory locations. Okay, great. So these are the three steps while creating arrays. So first declare the array. Okay, so in Java, how we can declare the arrays? So we have to declare the array by their data type, then name of the array, yes. So give the subscript operator. This is the square bracket. Guys, don't write size here. In C++, size is must while you have to declare the array. But in Java, you don't specify any size here. Subscript operator itself gives you that this is the object of array object, not a, it is an array. It is indicates that it is an array. Data type is a of type array. That is the indication by giving the subscript operator. No size is specified in Java. Okay, but in C++ must while declaring the array, you have to must write the size here because array is statically initialized. Guys, in Java, we have to write, for example, suppose it is an array of integers, suppose array A, and this is called as declaration of the array. This is called as array declaration. Don't specify size here. Great. As well as there is another syntax also there in Java. So it is int. You can write subscript operator first, then write the name of the array. Yes, it is also valid. So this is also valid in Java. That is int subscript. It indicates that it is an array of integer, and this is the name of the array A. So either you have to declare the array in Java like this, which is similar notation in the C, C++, or you can write the declaration of the array in this way, integer, write the subscript operator, that is square bracket, then name of the array. Great. Both are valid. So this is the first step, that is called as declaration of or declare the array. Okay, so it is a one-dimensional array. Great. So this is the declaration of the array. Then second step is called as create memory locations. So this is actually A, that is the name of the array, is a reference variable which stores the address of the actual array. Okay, so for that, create the memory locations. How to create the memory locations? So these memory locations are created on the heap. Yes. So like this, how to create the memory location? Just name of the array. A is equal to new int, write subscript and specify size here. Great. Now this statement creates 10 blocks of type integer on heap memory partition. Okay, so using this statement we have to create memory locations. Now if integer requires 4 bytes, then 10 blocks of for each 4 byte are reserved in contiguous memory location. That is also important. So contiguous memory location on which partition? Heap memory partition on the RAM. Great. So this is called at creating memory location. Guys, we have to combine these two statement, that is declaration of the array and creating memory location together. Yes, it is also possible. For example, integer array, you can write subscript operator. Okay, there is a option, you have to specify subscript before name of the array or after name of the array. You can choose any one. Then new integer and write here size of the array and give the semicolon. This is called as both array declaration and array memory location creation. Okay, allocate the memory location for that array. Here array is the name of the object reference variable where it stores 15 blocks of memory which is on the heap, and that reference, that is the base address of this block, is stored in the array reference variable. Great. Guys, you have understood this part. Now, third point or third step, that is called as initialize values into memory locations. Now assign the values to the memory location. So how to assign it? So simple way, that name of the array, give the index of the array of 0, which value you want to initialize at the 0th index. So you can give the name of array of suppose 1, which value you want to assign. So 21, you can assign it like this. In this way we can initialize the values into memory location where we have reserved the block of memory on the heap partition of your RAM. Great. Yes, guys, I hope you understand. Similarly, we are familiar with C++. So integer name of the array A, suppose subscript is equal to inside curly brackets. You can write 10, 20, 30. Yes, this syntax or the notation is also valid in Java. Okay, because it is familiar or with the C++. That's why we have to use this notation also. But if we have write this notation also, this is shorthand notation. This is actually expand by your compiler in the form like this. What A, what is the size? Like this. It is expanded like this, integer A. Okay, then subscript operator gives you new integer of size. How many elements are there? 3, and each element is initialized like this. A of 0 is equal to 10, then A of 1 is equal to 20, and third A of 2 equal to 20 and 30. Okay, great. So this statement, okay, you have to allow to write your statement like this, which is similar notation as per the C and C++ language. So this is similar notation as per C++ language, but our compiler, Java's compiler, Javac, which expands our code like this. Okay, so this statement, if exists in your Java code, it is expanded in this format only. Great, because array is a type of object in Java. Okay, so there are number of methods. First is how to calculate length of the array. So a dot length. Okay, this data member gives you array length. Okay, and it returns the integer value. You can save it into any variable. Okay, next. I hope you understand this. So let's take one example and just initialize the array at compile time in Java and then display it using any loop. Okay, calculate the length of that array element. So for that, I have to create new file, or I have to just delete all this thing and I have write the code here itself. So just create first class. So class array. So this is the class array. In the array class, we have to write our main function, public static void main. Inside main, we have to write string args. Okay. So write the code here. So just I have to create one array of numbers. Okay, you can write the subscript here is equal to, the subscript operator gives you that number is not a simple variable, it is a variable of type array. So don't specify size here, it gives you otherwise error. Okay, let's check. Next, you have to initialize the array using C++ notation. Yes, 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. Yes. So we have to initialize the array in this way. Now, if you want to calculate the length, then you have to call integer length is equal to your array name, that is number dot data member, that is length, which gives you length of that particular array. You have to print the length also. Okay. So printf. Okay. So for printing, println, you have to write length of array number is equal to just write like this in double quotes plus length. Okay. So remaining thing is you have to write here system dot out dot println. Okay, that prints the length. Great. Now what we have to do, we have to print all the elements in your array. So how to print it? By using any loop. We have to use for loop int I is equal to 0. Yes, it is allowed in the Java language to write int in the for loop. Otherwise, in C language, what is the rule? All the data members are initialized at the first statements in the any method. In the C language, in the CPP, you have to create the name of the variable whenever you required anywhere. And in Java, you can write any data type whenever in the for loop. Yes, it is also allowed. So int I is equal to 0. Yes, I less than what? Length. Okay, because if the length is 5, so length return is 5. So I have to start the array index always from 0 to 4. So that's why I less than length only. Okay, if you write equal here, then length minus 1. Okay, great. Next, I plus plus. Yes. Now, what is our aim? Our aim is to display the data members. So system dot out dot println. Okay, great. Println. What we have to print? All the values. Okay, so just give the one space or two space and the next each line the number. What is the index? I is the index. Okay, so this displays our array elements. Okay, to close the class array. Yes, now save the file using array.java in Java programs folder. Okay, great. So save it. Okay, so this is renamed array. Now it's time for open our Java programs folder. Go to here, write cmd command prompt, open command prompt from that point. So what happens? Automatically it gives the whole path where our program is saved. What is our program? So first Java C array dot Java. Okay, so let's check what happens. Okay, so there is one error. So reach end of the file while passing. Yes, some error is there. Okay, let's check what is curly bracket anywhere remaining. Oh yes, this is the completion of for loops curly bracket. Main curly brackets is remaining. So write curly bracket here, then save it properly, and then again go and compile the file. Yes, there is no error. Now it's time for execution. So Java is the Java's interpreter. Name of the array dot main. Array where the class where the method main is there. So array dot main, that is actually calling. So when you press the enter key, then length of the array number is equal to 5. Yes, and these are the array elements. Great. So this is all about the how to create the array using our C++ notations, and how to calculate the length of the array. So length is the data member, not a method. Guys, always be careful with the length as a method, or length is a data member. Here in the array, to calculate the length of the array, we have to use length as a data member, while in the string we have to use length as a method. Okay, we will see that part also. Great. Now let's minimize it. So hope you understand this. Now it's time for second type of elements. Okay, so I'll just notepad again. I have created new instance of the notepad. Yes. So next type of array is called as multi-dimensional array. Okay. In multi-dimensional array are again divided into multi-dimensional means array having more than one dimensions, that is 2, 3, 4 like this. This type of arrays are called as multi-dimensional arrays. Multi-dimensional arrays are also two types. One is the rectangular array and second type, that is jagged, called as jagged array. Okay, great. So multi-dimensional arrays are again divided into rectangular arrays means number of columns and rows are fixed, while jagged arrays where number of rows are fixed but number of columns are varies. That means first row contains 3 columns, second row contains 5 columns, fifth row contains 8 columns. That means that number of columns are not fixed. Okay, if number of columns and number of rows are fixed, then it is called as rectangular array. For example, 4 by 4 array. So where 4 number of rows and number of columns. If number of columns are 7, so 4 rows and each row contains 7 columns. This type of array is called as rectangular array. While jagged arrays means number of rows are fixed but number of columns are varies. If number of columns are varies, different means suppose there are the 4 rows and each row contains different number of columns. For example, first row contains columns. Yes, 2 columns. Then second row contains 4 columns. 4 columns like this. So in this way, third row contains suppose 5 columns. Yes, it is real life. This is the number of rows. Okay, the rectangular array is mostly used for the matrix purpose. Okay, their number of rows and columns are fixed. Jagged arrays, lots of example we required the jagged arrays. Due to jagged arrays, our memory gets saved. Yes, obviously memory required for the jagged arrays saved. Okay, same problem statement we have to solve using rectangular array also, but the space required is more and wastage of memory is there in the rectangular array, but in jagged arrays there is no wastage of memory. Great. Okay, yes, I hope you understand this concept, multidimensional array. Now, how to declare two-dimensional array or three-dimensional array and how to declare jagged arrays. So how to declare rectangular array, two-dimensional arrays. So just integer, suppose it is an integer array. Okay, so 2, that is the name of the array. Then give 2 subscript operators. Okay, is equal to new integer, and you can specify size here, suppose 5 by 7, 4 by 7. Great. So this is the called as declaration and space. We have to reserve the memory. This statement, guys, new int 4 by 7. This statement reserves the memory on the heap partition, and which is the base address of that reserved memory. That base address is returned and that is saved into the reference variable 2. Great. So how many blocks are reserved? 4 into 7. 28 blocks are reserved. Okay, and each block, if it is integer, each block having size 4 bytes. Great. Hope you understand. Now we will solve, take the some problem statements based on the multidimensional array. One is the rectangular array and one is the jagged array. So this is the first problem statement, that is 0, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we have to print the matrix like this, okay, using rectangular arrays. So how to write the code? Okay, let's open the file. Okay, so in the same file I have to write the code. Great. So first statement, first is to declare the array. So what is the problem statement? Problem statement contains how many rows? 4 rows and 4 columns. Okay, great. So first we have to create two-dimensional array, that is two-dimensional array. Okay, so to subscript, it indicates it is a two-dimensional array. Then use keyword new int and specify the size 4 by 4. Yes. Okay, so this is first step, to declare and reserve the space on the heap partition for the two-dimensional array. Total 16 blocks are reserved and each block having size 4 bytes. Okay, great. Now what we have to create? We have to initialize these two-dimensional arrays. Okay, so we know if the array is two-dimensional, we require two variables. Okay, I is equal to 0, I less than 4, and I plus plus. I is the variable we have to choose for the number of rows. Another one variable, that is j is equal to 0, then j less than 4 and j plus plus. So j variable is for number of columns, while I variable is for number of rows. Great. So I variable is for the number of rows and j variable is for number of columns. Number of rows, this 4 initial gives you number of rows and this second subscript operator gives you number of columns. Both are same, so no doubt, no problem. Okay, so this is for loop. Okay, so inside the for loop, inner for loop, what we have to do? We have to initialize the two-dimensional array. So what is the name of the two-dimensional array? 2D. Then I, that is number of rows, and number of columns is j. And which value we have to assign? Suppose k. So just declare the k. And what is the initial value of k? 0. Because what is the problem statement? We have to initialize the array from 0 itself. 0, 1, 2 means it is incremented by 1. Okay. So k. And what we have to do? We have to increment the k value, k plus plus. Great. So in this way we have to increment the k, as well as, guys, here we have to declare I as well as j variables. Okay. Now what happens? First, while execution, I is equal to 0, 0 less than 4. Yes, it is true. So again it goes to the inner for loop, j is equal to 0, correct. J less than equal to 4, yes, condition true. Then 2d ij means 0, 0 is initialized to 0. Then k plus plus, okay. Then j plus plus, that is 1, 1 less than equal to less than 4, yes, condition true. K is 1, 1 is assigned to 1, I is equal to 0 and j is equal to 1. Then like this we have to do manual debugging. Yes, now it's till 15 values are initialized in this two-dimensional array. Now it's time to display. For displaying purpose also we have to require two for loops. Guys, one for loop gives you number of rows, yes, and second for loop gives you number of columns. So I is I plus plus. Okay. Next for loop is okay. So again write for loop for columns j is equal to 0, j less than equal to 4, j plus plus. Great. Okay. So write system dot out dot println. Okay. Okay, but we have to write only print method because not new line is required. Okay, so two dimensional I comma j, yes, we have to print plus in then we have to give one space, okay, for the next value. Okay, in this way we will print all the column values of the first row, then second, third, and fourth like this. So complete after completion of inner for loop, write one statement that is most important, that is system dot out dot print ln. Just write this. That's why new line, that means first row is displayed, then new line is must there. Okay, then complete your main function and then complete your class array. Yes, guys, hope you understand. Now save it. The class is saved using array. Now it's time to compile it. java.javac array.java. Okay, let's check. Okay, there is one error. Reached end of the file while parsing. Okay, so somewhere there is a missing of curly bracket. Let's check. This is for main. This is do for loop. Two for loops are completed. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. Okay. One for loop is remaining for the main. Okay. So write one for loop again. Save it properly and go to command prompt and compile it. Okay. There is no error. Now run it. Great. So yes, what is the output we want to require? What is the required output? Just see. Using which rectangular array we want to print data in this way. Yes, it is similar way which we want. Okay, great. Guys, hope you understand. Yes. Any doubts till this? In rectangular array, two-dimensional array? Yes, yes. Any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay. So let's move to the next part. Which is new for us, that is jagged array. What is jagged array? Jagged array where the number of rows are constant but number of columns are different for each row. So that type of arrays are called as jagged arrays. So first thing, how to declare the jagged arrays. So first thing is how to declare it. Okay, one more thing, guys, I will show you. Array index out of bound. In C and C++ language, array index are not strictly type checked. But in Java, array index bounds are strictly type checked. Otherwise, it gives you error. For example, just I will show you. If, okay, yes, and if I have write here 5 and 5 by mistake and save it, then go and just compile it and check it. Oh, what is the problem? Yes, there is no problem. Okay, because yes, suppose here I have write 14. Yes, save it properly and compile it. Okay, so guys, here it does not gives you any error. but just compile time, it does not give any error. While array bounds exceeds their range, there is no compile time error, but at the time of execution, it raised the exception. What? It raised the exception. What is exception? Exception is runtime error, is called as exception. So exception in thread main. Okay, guys, always remember here in Java, whichever program we have to write till this, these are the single threaded programming. Single threaded, where is only one thread is exists, that is the main thread. So exception in the main thread. Yes, there is the problem in the main thread. What is the problem? Java.lang dot array index out of bound exception. So this type of exception arise. Index 4 out of bounds for the length 4 at array main at the line number 11. That is first line. Okay, it is here. So that is 4, required is 4, but we have to write 5. Okay, that's why. So guys, you understood? In Java, when you compile it, there is no compilation time error, but while execute it, Java gives you runtime error, that is called as the exception. What is the exception? Array index out of bound exception. This is the exception class in Java. So I will show first that. Now let's move to the new point, that is the jagged array. Okay. So question arises, how to declare jagged arrays. So just integer jagged. Okay, so write subscript, which indicates it is a two-dimensional array, because jagged array is a two-dimensional or multi-dimensional array. So here we have take the example of two-dimensional array only. So let's new integer. What? First subscript gives you number of rows. Rows are fixed 4. Okay, but what? Columns are different, like this. Okay, so integer, we have to write name of the array, that is jagged, then write two subscript, which indicates that it is a two-dimensional array, then write new integer 4, that is number of rows are fixed, number of columns are varies. Okay, so like this. And then what are the columns in each? Suppose first row contains only one column, so first row. So how to write first row? Jagged 0. It gives you first row is equal to, again new integer, and how many rows columns are there? Only one column, so write 1. Okay, and jagged 1, that is the second column. Okay, and it contains new integer 2 columns. Yes, it's possible. And jagged 2 means it is a third row. Third row contains how many columns? So integer 3. And last row, that is jagged 3. That is fourth column, contains how many data members? Suppose integer 4. Yes. Yes. Okay. So in this way, we have to declare the jagged array, create the memory for number of rows, then using each row, we have to create or reserves the memory for number of columns. So in here, first row contains one column. Then second row contains 2 columns. Yes, like this. I hope you understand. Okay, so let's move to our problem statement, which is based on the jagged array. So what is the problem statement? Let's take print out the output like this using jagged arrays shown below. Great. So let's move to our problem statement. Yes, let's make the changes in that. Only 4. Yes, number of rows are 4. How many number of columns are there? Each first row contains 1. So I have to copy this code here from here. Yes. Great. And just paste it. Okay. So this is a jagged array. So just give the name here as a jagged. Okay. So it is a 4 rows and each row contains different number of columns. Yes. Now first row contains, okay, like this. Now what we have to do here, how many number of rows? Rows are fixed, that is 0 to 4, 3 means total 4 number of rows. Then column logic is different. Here j less than what? I plus 1. I plus 1, j plus plus. Then what do you have to do? We have to use jagged ij, yes, and which value? K. And what is the initial value of k? Which is initial to 0, yes, and k plus plus. Great. Now for I is equal to 0. But yes, these are number of rows. Number of rows are fixed, that is 4. But number of columns are different. J is equal to 0. J less than I plus 1 and j plus plus. System dot out print your jagged array. Jagged. Okay. So jagged ij and space, yes, and then if you print the whole row, then you have to write print new line and then again print all the columns in that. Great. Now let's check whether it works properly or not. First save it, go to command prompt, compile your code. Yes, there is no error, compilation error. Just check. Oh yes. So what is the output? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, like this we have to do or implements jagged arrays. Yes. Any doubts till this? In this way we have to implement jagged arrays. Means just declare the jagged array in the first line only number of rows because we have no only number of rows. Next number of columns are varies, so we have to create number of columns by using this statement. Okay, so after that you have to use the array logic and you can initialize the jagged array and then display that jagged array as per our requirement. Okay, great. So anything, any doubts till this? Yes, any doubts till this? Okay. I hope you understand all this. Now it's time for activity. 10 minutes are remaining. So I will give the one activity on Moodle. Everyone should attempt it and upload it on the Moodle. Okay, great.